videonya.
Belum mulai.
Ini masuk. Ada.
Kamu enak di sampingnya Keisha kelihatan. Wih, gue jajan direk. Aku deh. Udah siapa?
Ini musiknya kan ada.
Aku nggak ada. Enggak, saya memang tak matiin.
Iya.
Tapi dia cuma mengatakan ekspresi karena ekspresi artinya pengeluaran sisa metabolisme. Nah, proses pengeluaran yang ada di dalam itu ada banyak yang ada di lembar kerja yang sudah buat. Ada defekasi.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Is there somebody from SMK 63 already join this room? Miss Putri Amelia Konita. Kapan di wifi gue?
Apa itu wifi apa?
Aku titik gua. Ini ke YouTube aja kagak bisa.
Sama tahu. Sama. Loh. Loh.
Join meeting kan ya?
Ini harus pakai yang
Suruh buka di WhatsApp. Lagi connect ada. Oh iya ada.
Oh itu.
Terus ini gimana, Sal?
Yang ada kenapa? Oh iya.
Hello everyone, we will begin shortly in 5 more minutes. We will wait for
Mama.
to join the meeting.
5 menit lagi, 5 menit lagi. Ini gimana?
Ambil aja, Lek, belum? Kok di enteng gitu ya? Sisik belum. Ini suara nih. Terus jilot loh, Lek, begini. Oh, ini belum.
Wait my bro. You know, last week when we are in Jakarta, yes, in one in
Belum mulai.
rumah tangga.
Oh ini udah siap nih punya gua.
Sama ya. Peter kayak kemarin-kemarin kita.
Halo.
Nah, halo.
Cek kait tadi. Wah nek bahasa Indonesia nih rek.
Rek kok mlebu suaramu rene, Rek?
Halo.
Banyak ini lihat aja nih. Tuh.
Dimatiin.
Oke, halo Mas Ruli, Assalamualaikum. Boleh dimulai sekarang, Mas?
Ya, halo Pak. Bisa mendengar suara saya?
Jelas, Mas.
Oke.
Oke, kita mulai ya, Mas.
Ya, silakan Mas.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So we meet again in this is our third meeting, I believe, for our urban agriculture online training. So today we will have this session on household scale composting of solid organic waste management. And with me here today we have Professor Arif Sabdo Yuwono. Welcome to Cyber Dialog again. Okay, so without further ado, please, Mr. Arif, you can deliver the material.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to present household scale composting of solid organic waste. By me, my name is Arif. I am working in Institut Pertanian Bogor or Bogor Agriculture University. So actually, household composting activity is only a part of the Go Green movement, which consists of the solid waste management and the water management, and then energy management, and then the green building aspects. So actually, you can add some more in those last box. So compost, as you see, of course, the raw materials is from organic one, and from inorganic, on the other side, can be managed by using 3R or 5R. It means that the reduce, reuse, recycle. And now we are going to focus on compost. So you see in the chart, actually, everybody can do it in their household. So please, next. As you see from the tragedy in West Java province, that during 2005, the pile of the solid waste in Bandung, capital of West Java province, is piled so that in a way that there is such concrete to keep it in a proper way. So after the pile reach its highest position or condition, then because of those improper management, tragedy was happened where more than 100 people died. As you see in the right upper band, those are the locations where the victims were found. And of course, most of the fraction is in our Indonesian statistics, the organic fraction of the generation.
Itu ngajarnya main game.
80 until 74%. So, please the next slide. This is an example of our solid waste final disposal site, which is called Bantar Gebang. Actually, the solid waste comes from Jakarta metropolitan area, where the area is about 107 hectares. And the input of the solid waste per day in 2012 was more than 5,000 tons. So you can imagine if the volume are about 22,000 square meter cubic per day. So in the lower right hand side, as far as you can see, this is the pile of the organic and inorganic solid waste coming from Jakarta metropolitan area, where the left hand side, those two pictures inform you the operation of the heavy weight instruments like bulldozer and so on to manage the pile of the organic and inorganic also solid waste. So please next. Another case is in Bogor municipality, which we call TPA, or the final disposal site Galuga, where the people are living there, they are working there, and also you can see that the condition is of course unhealthy. Please next. Here kind of the close up pictures to show you how the solid waste move to certain places since from the downloading process from the trucks, and the people who are working there, they are scavengers, especially. They are working very close to the heavy equipment, and this is very dangerous, but they have to be there. This is a must. Why? The reason is that because they are going to have something on the pile of the solid waste. Next, please. And this is another scene where the positive aspects that we can get from the final disposal site in TPA Galuga, or tempat pemrosesan akhir, which is in English is called as final disposal site. The product of the final disposal site is compost, where compost then is used as a growing media for ornamental plants, as well as for the soil conditioner. So as you see on the left hand side, this is an example of the demo plot where the ornamental plants are grown there by using the compost produced from the TPA Galuga. Next, please. This is a general rule where waste management actually is a byproduct, and unused material can also be the rest of any process. Materials, this waste can be raw materials for other processes, and of course the economic aspects, the health aspects of this processing of the solid waste would be the benefit why the people are processing the solid waste. Next, please. So from the animal husbandry activity, you can have livestock waste, which can be converted into biogas, where the main component of the biogas is methane, or CH4. You can see in the left-hand side, this is an example of a biogas digester in Bogor municipality, where the input of the digester is, of course, cattle manure, and then the product of the digester is fire, which can be used as a energy sources for a lot of activity, household activity. Next, please. So this is another example in Bekasi municipality in West Java, where the result of the municipal solid waste management is in kind of electricity. So the pile of municipal solid waste, and then the anaerobic conditions is built up in the pile, and then as a result of this condition, anaerobic condition, is the generation of CH4 or methane. So the resulted methane is then flowed into the electric generator in the right hand side, which is simply converting the methane to be electricity. The next, please. This is another example of the conversion of the municipal solid waste to be electricity, which I got the pictures from Belgium. The solid waste dump is covered by a kind of plastics, and then the generated gas is flowed by using the plumbing system, and then this gas is flowing into the electric generator, and then in general from this northern part of Belgium, the produced electricity was about 4 million watts. So you can imagine from a municipality, you can have the electricity as much as 4 million watts. Next, please. A special waste in these pictures comes from Tsunami Aceh in Aceh some years ago. This is a picture when I was working there. First, the tsunami solid waste are collected, and then the next step is sortation on the left hand side. Of course, not all of the solid waste, only selected
Lihat dong. Ya lah, nggak bisa.
can be managed in order to produce some furniture. Next, please. The fecal sludge is also a product of any municipality. Here again in Aceh, there was a processing installation, or IPLT in Indonesia. It is called as a instalasi pengolahan lumpur tinja, where the fecal sludge is retained in a kind of pond, and then we have to wait for until it is stable, which is called in the stabilization process. And afterwards, the next process is dewatering in order to reduce the water content of the fecal sludge. So on the right hand side, this is the product of dewatering process. We call it as fertilizer, and this fertilizers can be used in the Banda Aceh city parks as a soil conditioner, as a main source of the nutrient for the ornamental plants grown in the city parks. The next, please. Now, this is another example of the compost processing where the raw materials is rice straw. You see the theoretical approach. Actually, from the organic rice cultivation, you will get rice straw as a waste, and the waste is then converted to be compost, and the compost resulted from this process is then as an input of the organic rice cultivation again. So this kind of cycle can be called as a zero waste approach. The productivity of the land, you see the green one is the rice produced from a hectare in units a ton. And then you see the bigger part is straw, is waste. So you see there's almost 3 or 4 times where the straw production is much bigger than the rice production itself. The next slide, please. How do we compose the rice straw? We can use a kind of this simple structures, which we call here in Indonesia as hebel or light concrete. This is an example of the rice straw got from the rice field of about 600 square meter, and then you have to add some goat manure on it, the black one, the black part of the thing. Yeah. And then within 2 or 3 months, you will get the finished compost. So this is another an example of the rice straw composting with the small scale of the rice cultivation of about 300 or 400 square meter. And then, of course, if you are going to socialize it, you can have a field discussion there. If you have use it a chopper, if you are not so sure, you can use it to reduce the size of the rice straw. But actually, the chopping machine is not so important for this composting process, where the main materials are rice straw. Next, please. You can have also another example where the structure of the composting bin consists of the red bricks, but I would suggest that the strength of this structure is not so enough. It's too weak to construct the composting bin from the red brick. Would be better if you have the structures from the light brick, the white one, as presented in the slide before, or you can have, if you are going to build it from the red brick, you can have it, of course, by using a bit of cement to make it stronger, to make the structure stronger. So the next slide, please. This is the detailed picture where you compost the rice straw plus the good manure in an aerobic condition. The triangle structures actually a way where we can make sure that the process is under aerobic conditions. The structures is used as an agent to supply the oxygen coming from the free air in the surrounding area. And of course, the black and the well, a little bit is a materials actually from good manure. Next slide, please. So this is the flow chart on how do we justify whether the quality of the compost fulfill the national standard. From the red box, if you are going to justify the compost quality, of course, you have to analyze it in the laboratory in order to understand how is the content, the nutrient content of the produced compost. And then you can compare it with the national standard in your country. In Indonesia, we call it the standard is SNE, and then you can justify the quality, whether the produced compost fulfill the SNE standard or not. If not all of the parameters comply with the national standard, we can call it a poor compost, where if most of them comply with the quality as prescribed in the SNE, means that the quality of the compost is the good one. And this is the mass balance of the rice cultivation per hectare. From our experiment, we have the rice flow, and if we are going to process it to be compost, we have to, it would be better if we added it good manure, and then by using the 1:1 comparison, we will have about 14 tons per hectare of the good manure. And then if it's necessary, you can chop it in order to mix it homogeneously. But if you feel that it's not necessary, you can let it in a pile. So the composting process will proceed until 2 or 3 months by using the conventional aeration or aerobic processes. And then within 2 or 3 months, finished compost, which is ready to use. This is the output of the process, and could be an input for rice cultivation. So from 14.1 tons per hectare, you will get about 11 tons of compost. And according to our national guideline, according to the Ministry of Agriculture, for organic rice cultivation, you need only 7 tons per hectare of rice field cultivation. It means that from 11.3, you will have the rest of the compost of about 4.3 tons per hectare rice cultivation. Means that the compost produced per hectare can be used for the organic rice cultivation, and you still have the rest which can be sold to the society as much as more than 4 tons. Next, please. So this is a theoretical or simplification process of the composting, where the raw materials consisting of organic matter and a little inorganic matter, by using the oxygen coming from the air, the free air, during the composting process, it will release water, heat, and some odorous gases, some non-odorous gases like methane and carbon dioxide. But at the end of the process, you will have a finished compost with uniform mixture, which contain of unique organic matter, which contain also a lot of microorganisms, and of course it is reduced in their mass and water content. Next, please. So this is an example of a composter where the constructed materials are mainly from woods and some metals to make it tightly. Next, please. This is also an example of the equipments normally available in the composting unit. This is a sieve. The left hand side is a sieve where the movement of it was drawn by an engine. And on the right hand side, this is a sieve equipment where it can be moved to anywhere by using an automobile. And this is a mini composter which normally operated in a household scale. The left hand side is a plastic one, and the right hand side is constructed from wood plus some metals there. So this is an illustration in Germany where the yard waste can be put by the peoples in a certain locations. You can bring your yard waste by using your own auto. You weigh it, how much is the weight of the organic yard waste. And then if you are going to leave the area, you will get a kind of record. So the record is a proof of deposits. We can use it in any market. You can use it to buy some milk, some bread, whatever you want. So this is an illustration the composting process from a traditional market in Bogor municipality. The first one, the left-hand side, upper left-hand side, is the unloading process, where the most of the solid waste is an organic one because it is from the traditional market. And then if you bring it to the final processing area, the process is a natural one, natural composting in an open area. But then after some weeks, it would be better if you move it in a shaded area where the phase of it is a curing one. We call it a curing phase. And after that, you sieve it by using a sieve, and which is normally operated by a motor. You will have the finished compost, which later on used as a soil organic, soil conditioner, and also as a supplier for the ornamental plants nutrient. Next, please. This is an illustration of the Aeretic static pile, where the supply of the oxygen is by using a kind of air pump. So the left-hand side is the organic pile where it doesn't need any turning activity, and to supply the oxygen which is needed by aerobic bacteria, you can have an installation of the pipes so that you are sure that the amount of the oxygen in the pile is enough. So this is another illustration where the air pump, some air pumps are operating together to supply the oxygen in the pile of the organic aerobic composting process. The process of it is called as the aeretic static pile. Why it is called as aeretic? Because you use the supply of oxygen, means that the process is aerobic one, and you call it as a static pile because the pile is static without any turning activity. So you just let it in that pile. The opposite way is the dynamic pile. So this is the hierarchy where people are encouraged to do. Firstly, to prevent the generation of the solid waste. So if it is possible, please prevent any solid waste generation. But if it is not possible, then you can minimize the generation of the solid waste. And if the minimization is not possible too, then you can step to the lower one that is called as reuse. And if reuse is also not possible, then you can recycle it. But normally people can do minimization and reuse. So let's say if you go to the market, to the traditional market, it is better to bring your own bag. This is a kind of minimization activity. So it is not necessary to get a plastic bag from the market. And if you can get it, you can reuse it. So you bring your product by using the plastic bag, but then if you go there again next week or the week after, you can reuse it again. Means that it is not necessary to get the plastic bag, the new plastic bag. So if it is not possible too, then you can recycle it. And how do you recycle it? The recycle of the plastic bag can be done in TPA normally. If we have here in Jakarta, Bogor, Tangerang, and Bekasi areas, you will get a corner where the plastic bag was recycled there. And the end product of the recycling process of the plastic is the plastics like a beam, the small one, 2-3 millimeters. What we call it in Indonesia is rust plastic. And if it is not possible anymore, you will get the energy from the incineration process. But here you call it energy recovery. Energy recovery means that if you burn the plastic bag, if you burn the other materials back, and so on, the heat generated from the incineration process is used as an energy source to produce, let's say first, the steam, and also can be used as a source of energy to produce electricity. It's already a lot of examples in the developed countries where the incineration process will produce energy. The energy produced can be used as a source of energy to produce steam electricity for that municipality. And if those 5 steps are not possible anymore, the last step was disposal. Means that your plastic bags cannot be used anymore. It's not going into the incineration process, and you don't recycle even. So means that you just dispose it in your trash bag, in your trash bin. Means that nothing to do with the minimization, reuse, recycle, and energy recovery. On the left-hand side, you can see that the most favored option is the upper one, prevention. And the least favored option is the lowest one, disposal. So means that by using this hierarchy, it is advised that everybody can do. First one is prevention, prevention, and prevention. Next slide. So this is a very simple and easy way. How do we classify solid waste in our household? If it is possible, please separate the organic one. Why? Because we are going to produce compost. And how about the inorganic ones from your solid waste? If it is possible, please give it to scavenger, the organic fraction where it has the economic value. Metals, bottles, plastic bottles, aluminum cans, and so on. And the second fraction of the organic one is the inorganic fraction which goes to the incineration process. In Indonesia, we call it TPS and TPA because it can be used anymore. It can be put it in the incineration. It can be recycled and so on. So let's put it in the TPS atau tempat penampungan sementara. Means that the waste doesn't have any economic value. The fourth one is the hazardous waste, or B3 in our Indonesian language, which means of bahan berbahaya and beracun. But in our country, the hazardous waste sometimes is taken by scavenger in order to recycle again. Sometimes also directly dumped in a certain area. Next, please. And this is the composting of household solid waste, where the daily input is of 4% basis, consisting of papa, mama, and 2 children. So these are the examples of the compost. The left-hand side, the fresh organic fraction of the solid waste is separated and put in the composting bin. And after 2 and 3 months later, it depends on the production rate of the household, you will have the compost which is ready to use as a soil conditioner, as a soil, for the source of the nutrient for the ornamental plants, and so on, which is normally can be consumed, can be used by these households. And the composting bin, you can have 2 or 3 if it is possible, but actually at least you should have 2 composting bins, and you have 3 means that the one of the composting bin is in the position of standby. And what is important is that it is not possible for rat and cat to get into the composting bin because you have the lid consists of the wire where the aerobic process is taking place, and also no odor in this process. Why? Because there is no involvement of the rat and cat, but normally they take a part of the organic fraction of the solid waste taken away, and then you just put it in the some points where the consumable part is away. So in the right hand side, you see that the detailed picture where the organic fraction from kitchen or others means that it comes from our lawn in the in that household. And but later on you will have the a video showing the most important agent to convert from the fresh organic fraction to be compost. Next, please. You see the wire mesh is the important lead. So the waste material is inside of the composting bin, and then by using this wire mesh, you are sure that the composting process is in aerobic condition because the fresh open air can come into in this composting bin. Next, please. So if you calculate how is the benefit of managing the organic fraction of the generated solid waste in a household. So let's say a very simple examples where the residence consists of 4 capita, means that father, mother, and 2 children. And the generated solid waste volume is about 3.1 kilograms per day, where the standard we use from the Ministry of the Environment is about 0.765 kilograms per capita per day. And the normal fraction of the organic one is about 75%. And if the composting time, it takes place in 2 months until the compost is stable, we are going to have the volume of the composting bin 275, and the volume of the composter material is 218 because it is filled with 80% of the bin volume. The volume of the major compost is about 40% of the initial volume, means that from 218 you will get only about 87 liters, and from that we will have about 22 kilograms per month, and the finished compost, which is ready to use per month, is about 13 kilograms. And how much is the money? This is an Indonesian calculations. Only about 19.5 thousand rupiah per month if the price of the compost is 1,500 rupiah per kilogram. So, but please don't focus on this money, because the most important aspects of managing the solid waste is the healthy, is the nice scenery of your landscape, because you manage your solid waste. So that is the most important part, not on that money itself. Next, please. So this is an example where the recycle of household solid waste produces compost, and the compost is used as a fertilizer of these plants and also as a soil conditioner. Also with the second picture, next please. So this is the other example where fertilizers of these plants, these ornamental plants, is coming from the solid waste, which is then converted to be compost. So that's all I think from me. Next, please. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Is there any questions? Oh yeah, video, please. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in our house, which can be classified as green building. There are some reasons why it is called as green building. The first one, because we manage our organic fraction of solid waste, and we manage also our rainwater, and also because we use the direct sunlight as a source for our rooms in this house. In our house, solid waste is classified into 4 categories. The first one is the organic one, which will be used to produce the compost. And the second one is the unorganic one, which later on will be recycled. The third one is an unorganic number 2, which doesn't have any economic value. And the last one is the hazardous solid waste. This is the composting unit in our house. You'll find here the very fresh organic fractions of our solid waste, which is now
pada waktu
Okay, thank you, Pak Arif, for the presentation. And we already have a lot of questions here. from
Okay,
everyone.
interesting.
Okay, so the first one is from Delphi, Miss Delphi from SMA 3 Penabur, Jakarta. I'd like to ask you something. I've ever proposed an idea about the solid waste management at our school. The program is called the Green Waste Program. It's about waste sorting and recycling to make something more precious, like recycled products or something we can sell. But the problem is, it's hard to do the waste sorting because most of the students are not willing or maybe don't know the waste criteria. I've ever proposed the 5 kinds of bin at our school, but my teachers say, how can I do it? Whether now there's 3 kinds of bin can't be useful because the students are not willing to use it. Is there any advice for me regarding this problem, Pak? And then also where we can sell the recycled products.
Oh yeah. Well, the problem of willingness, I think, is the hardest problem. But actually, if you are going to do it once again, you can ask scavengers in your area. So you ask pemulung or scavengers. You ask them, pemulung A, scavenger A is invited by your school, and please raise your questions to him. Which one of two solid waste has any economic value? It's very simple one. So you can ask as much as you can. Of course, the scavengers knows exactly how much the price of the plastic, aluminum cans, metals, and so on. Later on, please invite again the second scavenger, and you ask the same questions. And also, please raise your questions, which one of the solid waste has economic values. If you try it 3 times, you will get a very, very surprised answer that the answer of those 3 scavengers are almost the same, especially on the price of each component of the solid waste. So right now, you can do by inviting scavengers in your area, in SMA Penabur, and please ask which one of these solid waste has any economic value. By using the answer from the scavengers, you will understand very well which one of the solid waste should be separated from the whole solid waste. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Pak Arif. Another question from Delphi also. She's very interested in learning about creating a prototype of incinerators. So, but she didn't know the technical part of it. So, what material do she need to create the incinerator? And are there any question or example for it?
Well, the simplest incinerator can be constructed from the red bricks by using cement, mortar, and so on. But it is actually not the right incinerator one, because as a definitions in the environmental engineering science, an incinerator is a equipment where you can incinerate the solid waste by temperatures of about 900 until 1200 or 300. So this is the real incinerator. But if you are going to burn your solid waste in a household incinerator, it means only a burning unit where the temperature is not as high as the real incinerator. But if you are going to try, you can have it by red brick construction. And of course, it would be better if the upper part is not open to the open air. Otherwise, if it is open, you will get the rainwater coming into that incinerator, and the result of the incineration process in that burner would be not so good. So, in order to avoid the input of the rainwater in your burner or household incinerator in your house, it is better to cover the upper part of the incinerator by a kind of concrete, and please make a release of the waste gas generating from the incineration process.
Okay, thank you, Pak. Other question? I'd like to ask about how to make a water pure or safe to be disposed to the river. Because there is.
Is there any relationship with the solid waste? What is the question?
Yeah. She asked how to make be disposed to the river. Because there's like a lot of water pollution, like after washing.
Yeah.
And then also from factory.
Safe unit 1, of course, you have to call it as wastewater treatment plant, or IPAL in Indonesian language, instalasi pengolahan air limbah. But it's costly. So if you are going to reduce the cost of the processing for the wastewater, would be better if you organize it in a community area. How many households you have to organize? Let's say 20, 30 households. Put it together, the wastewater, and you have to build some units of it. Of course, the physical unit, the chemical and biological units. The simple one is you can use certain plants like what we call it in the enceng gondok. Yeah, you can use it to reduce the chemical oxygen demand. You can reduce also the biological oxygen demand. And of course, if you use the enceng gondok, the positive impact is the higher dissolved oxygen in the processed wastewater from your household. Thanks.
Okay. Another question. Okay, she's very enthusiastic with this material.
Yeah.
Is it possible to apply 8 bins for waste in Indonesia, especially big cities, maybe like Jakarta, like the Japan has done? Why we can or can't do it? And if we can do it, how can we do it? I mean, the concrete and systematic step to do it.
Yes, of course. Well, if the society is advanced enough, actually you can separate your solid waste into 13 or 15 parts of it. But if you see that the society is a primitive one, the very basic separations is actually two. The first one is the organic fraction, and the second one is the inorganic fraction. So if you follow the how the society can separate it, later on you can divide again the inorganic fractions to be an inorganic that can be recycled, an inorganic that can be reused, and also the inorganic that can be raw material for other processes and so on. But again, this can be done, this can be carried out if you see that the society is well educated enough, means that most of the people understands the philosophy of the solid waste separation. But if you see that those society, those people who are living there is primitive enough, please separate into only two parts. The most important part, the first one again is the organic fraction, and the second one is the inorganic one. The organic one, about 70 until 75%, you can convert it to be compost, and the second one can go to the final disposal site. Thanks.
Thank you, Pak. And this is once again, if we connect this lesson with entrepreneurial lessons, can we open a waste management business, Pak? Perhaps could you give an example on such business?
Oh yes, of course. This is actually a business activity. So you see, in our society, I'm living here in West Java province in Bogor municipality. Business of recycling the solid waste is needs a lot of money. And I see an example of a scavenger in West Bogor area. They need money per month about 500 million rupiah. Means that if you calculate roughly from that business, and you will take only 10% of the assets, so your net benefit 10% of 500 million rupiah is about 50 million rupiah. You can imagine. This is a big number. This is a real business. But of course, not so many people can deal with those dirty things and so on. But if you are going to start it, you can organize some scavengers in your area. You organize 10, 20 pemulung scavengers. You ask them to give it back to you, and you organize, you separate those organic fraction, and then you sell it again to the bigger businessman. This is very, very interesting business.
And I think that's also a smaller example like bank sampah, Pak.
Yes, of course. Bank sampah is a small kind of business because it is collected only from one RT, 60, 50 household, and the margin is not so much. But please do not focus on that money. The real value one is the healthy of the society, the cleanness of the household, landscape which are very nice without any solid waste everywhere. So it's very, very interesting values besides of the money itself.
Okay, thank you, Pak. And another question from Koirul Anwar. How long does it take to make fertilizer from household waste?
to the label text on that bottle. Just put it there, pour it, and then you will get the process faster. But please be understand that the question is that, is it necessary to make faster? Because in our household, we produce the solid waste, organic solid waste from 4 members of our family. It's not necessary to, because if you do it faster, means that you need some money to buy the bacteria, and then the natural degradation process itself without any faster agent like bacteria is enough for our family. Means that sometimes you have to ask first to yourself, is it necessary to make the biodegradation processes faster? If your family is a small one, consists of 3 or 4 people, so I think it's not necessary to make it faster. But if you have a vision on the business that you are going to sell your compost, so it might be necessary to have the faster agent like bacteria, as I said. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And this question from Putri Amelia Konita from SMK 63 Jakarta. About recycle, we can recycle paper to a pot shape by crush that and mix the paper with glue. But the question is, how about the printed paper or written paper which contain ink, chemical ingredient? Will it affect the plant growth if we recycle paper into pot?
Yes, of course. The ink on paper itself is this is the hazardous waste. This is B3, bahan beracun berbahaya. So the real and the recommended processes for the paper containing ink on it, you have to remove the ink first by certain chemicals. You can find the thesis from the University of Brawijaya, how to remove the ink on the paper simply, and then the rest of the paper you can produce it again in a pulp form. By doing this, you will avoid the impact of the ink on the paper on your plants you are growing.
Okay, thank you, Pak. And then the question from Ahmad Maulana for the rice straw composting process. I think what happens if the rice straw have the diseases, and also what material that can degrading the composition of compost?
Yeah, of course, if you see that the rice straw containing diseases, there are 2 possibilities. The first one, the disease itself will away because the composting process will follow the phase where the upper temperature, the maximum temperature could be about 60 until 70 degrees centigrade or degrees Celsius. It means at that phase, some of the diseases will away. But if the composting process was not reaching the period where the highest temperature cannot reach 60, 70 degrees, of course, some diseases are still there. There are diseases, of course. What is the second question?
What material that can degrade the composition of compost?
What materials that can be
Degradably.
or degradable, I mean? Well, the degradable materials is, of course, the first one, we call it organic fraction of the solid waste. But be careful that actually not all of the organic fraction of the solid waste can be compostable. Again, a part of the organic fraction are not easy to be converted to compost. So from the first definitions, you see wood. Wood is actually organic one. But if you are going to convert the wood to be compost, it takes long time. Means that it's not easy to degrade for wood to be converted to be compost, because wood containing a lot of lignins, where the biodegradation process of lignocellulose wood takes longer time. So the most easy one of the organic fraction that can be composted or can be converted to be compost, we call it compostable organic one. Is the rest of the vegetables, food waste, the waste from the restaurant and so on. This is very easy to be converted to compost. Thanks.
You from SMK Ngadirejo, Pak. How to make sure that our compost get done? I mean, what is the characteristic of a good compost?
Yes, good compost is characterized by the process will flow in a way that it follows the normal temperature, and then it will be goes to the certain phase where the bacteria working on it will reach 60, 70 degrees Celsius, and it slows down to the normal temperature. The second one, you see that if the color changes from the green one to be the black one like soil, means that the composting process was going very well. Those are the examples that ensure the process of converting the organic one to be compost. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And question from Ice Prof. In the process of compost, do we need to set the acidity level?
An interesting question. If you are doing the normal household level of composting, it's not necessary at all to set the acid level, because if you are going to set the acid level, it means that the processing is not a simple one anymore. You need some instruments, equipments, chemicals, and so on to set the acid level. But what we are discussing now is how to set a very simple process in a household level, so that most of the organic fraction of the solid waste could be converted to compost, which is very, very easy actually, and which has the benefits economically, benefits for the soil, benefits for the health of the people, and so on. So back to your questions, it is not necessary for the household level to set the acid level.
Okay, thank you, Pak. And from Karia, how to make our friends more curious about how to recycle of household solid waste?
Yeah, actually, if you set the healthy values of the family, please remember that sadness or the happiness of anybody in the family sometimes depends on the cleanness or dirtiness of the household, of your house. So if you don't manage your generated solid waste, means that it is a big potential, it is a risk for you all, the people who are living in your house, to get the sickness, to get the so many kinds of bacteria, viruses, which can make you sick. But therefore, you decide to manage the solid waste there, and also, of course, with the hazardous waste, means that you will live in a healthy way, in a happy way, because your surroundings areas is clean and happy. Thanks.
Hello, Miss Putri Amelia. Hello, Miss Putri. Are you ready to present? Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Ya, halo. SMK 63.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, are you ready to present your presentation now, or still we wait a little bit?
Yeah, I'm ready to present my
You're ready? Okay, thank you. Perhaps you could turn your laptop volume down a little bit so to reduce the noise feedback.
Is it okay? Okay. Where's the... Okay. Can I start it?
Okay, yes, you can start.
Risky. Okay, for the first time, my name is Putra Maria Vanita. I'm a student from Professional High School 603 Jakarta. I made a presentation about implementation of solid organic waste management and composting at my school, Professional High School 603 Jakarta. Okay, at the first slide, at the first slide, there is a composting system in our school. As we know, composting is the key of organic farming. Compost contains many organic matter which already decompose and recycle and can be used as fertilizer and soil amendment. Before we make a compost, in our school we should prepare the dry organic waste. After that, fill it for 3 months. For your information, if we want to use the wet organic waste like waste of fruit and vegetable, we should dry it before by the wind at least 3 days until it's dry, and we can fill it. After we fill it and wait for 3 months, we can open the compost and mix that. After we mixing, we shift the compost because we only take the smooth texture of compost. After that, we packaging the compost in a plastic and Next slide. Yeah, after we packaging the compost, we weigh that compost in weight 500 grams, and after that we seal the compost. After we seal it, our compost product is ready to sell to people around us for planting, for urban farming, and many more. We sell it every time we make a compost. We always sell it for the people. Next slide. For implement of solid organic waste management, our school has a biopod product. Biopod is an organic pod made from banana stem waste and tapioca glue. Biopod is an environmentally friendly product because this product can reduce the plastic waste such as polybag, and this product can degradable in soil. And for your information, our school already implement this for seedling the seed. So before we plant the seed to the land, we should make a seedling first. And we seedling it not by polybag but using biopod. And after the seedling grows bigger, like this one, the cows, after it grows bigger, we can put it on land. But we don't have to do a transplanting process like polybag. We should take off the plastic from the plant. No, we just put the biopod and the plant, stick them together to the land. And after that, just plant it, and the biopod will be degradable by itself. Okay, I think that's all for me. Thank you so much for your attention and for the time. Thank you. Wait for the effect.
Okay, any comment or suggestion, Arif?
Yes, it's very nice product, of course. For SMK 63, and it's a good initial steps when you try to reduce the plastics and then you replace it by biopod. I would appreciate that this is a good initiative from your school. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Arif.
You're welcome. Is there any questions?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Miss Putri Amelia. So we will go back to the questions in the chat box.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's a question from Mutia Hasan from SMK 63 Jakarta. What is the negative impact if you use compost for planting of the plant?
Main problem of implementing the compost is actually on the manpower. It's not easy at all to put 7 tons per hectare instead of, let's say, some hundreds kilogram of chemical fertilizers. So if you are going to use compost as a supplier for the nutrients for the plants, means that you have to raise center of the field, and 7 tons is not easy at all. And of course, if you have a lot of manpower, it will be okay. But if you are working alone for your it is relatively hard to put the 7 tons to spread it out in 1 hectare of the land. But if you see that the positive impact is much more better than the negative impact, you will try to use these organic fertilizers. I mean the compost instead of the fertilizers produced by the industry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak. And then the next question from SMK 1 Malang. What microba that can be used for composting?
Well, it's not necessary to choose a certain microbes for composting process. Just put it the organic fractions of the waste, and then the microbes will come itself. In our case, in our household, the most important biological agents is the maggot. It's a larvae of the black soldier fly. You can find in the internet a lot of references which is now being practiced, implemented, Jakarta, Tangerang, Bogor, and so on, where the organic fractions is converted by maggot. Of course, bacteria are working there too, but it's not necessary to select a certain bacteria for composting process. They will come automatically. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak. And then the next question from Ms. Aprilia Rahayu. How to solve the bad smell from the composter?
Well, this is the, I'm sorry. This is not a bad smell from the composter. If you process the composting by using that maggot, as I showed you already in the slides, the odor intensity of this composting process is only negative 0.1. It means that from the 10 member of the panelists, only one member would say this is odorous, and the odor level is only -1. So if you scale the odor from -4 until +4, the -1 for the negative sense of the odor, the positive one is for the positive sense of the odor. Let's say flowers, perfumes, food product, and so on. This is positive side. And the negative one, of course, this is the waste. So the wastewater, the gas coming from your stomach, this is the negative one. But if you justify the composting process in our household, it is only -0.1. Means that our composting process, where the main agent of the process is maggot from the black soldier fly, the odor intensity is very, very low, reaching the normal condition. The normal condition is 0. So the value of the normal condition, no positive and no negative, can be given the score as 0. And in our cases, -0.1 means that almost normal, almost no odor emitted from the composting process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak. And next question is about the superiority and weakness if we use microbes. I think it's been already answered, right?
Yeah.
What is the first thing we do and prepare to make the biogas digester?
Biogas digester. Yes, of course. Well, you can pull the bioacoustics tester from the red brick. The second one you can buy in the market, which is constructed from the polycarbonate. And the third one, you can have the construction of the digester from fully concrete, and the gas releases somewhere flowing via pipes. You can have it in a plastic bag. You can have it also in a metal container, which can blowing up and down in the water structure. But as far as I know, the most common structures of a bioacoustics tester are constructed from the red bricks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. From Delphi, do you have phone or WA number or something? I still want to ask a lot of questions.
Oh yes, of course. You can contact me directly. 081 311 210 and 100. No, 100. This is my phone number.
Also WhatsApp.
Yes, phone and WhatsApp.
Okay, so I have already written the number, so you can contact Arif directly if you have any more questions. Okay, next question in the chat panel. Can we use UV lamp for increase the seedling growth? Is that effective, sir?
In relation to what kind of matter is it?
UV lamp for increasing the seedling growth.
No, it is beyond of my knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't understand. There's no relationship with the solid waste management.
Yeah, I think you can ask that tomorrow to in a hydroponic session to
Oh,
Miss
okay,
Mary,
I see.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. How can methane turn on the genset?
Oh yes, it is simple process. So you can use actually natural gas or any kind of the gases coming from the refineries as a raw material for genset, and the methane is converted to be the main energy sources, because methane containing a lot of energy in it. This is a kind of a fuel. So it's burned, and then you turn the generator, and the turning process is then converted to the electricity by using a magnet. So it's very common and simple process. So instead of using the gas, you use the methane. Methane is a natural gas. Yeah, like you are using the LPG. LPG is liquefied petroleum gas. Normally consists of the propan and butane, but methane is the LNG, liquefied natural gas. So methane is a gas for fuel. Yes.
Okay, I think there is no further question, but
Okay.
so
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here. Perhaps you could give a closing remarks for all of us.
Okay. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you still have problems, you can ask me via WhatsApp by using that number. And if I cannot directly, maybe I'm still busy, I will answer you later on, some hours later, because well, I give a lot of lectures in our campus. I guide also some practicums in our campus. Sometimes I become a speaker in any seminar and so on, write down any journals. If you send me the message via that number, inshallah, I will answer your question. So again, thanks very much for your attention and success, not only to understand the process of managing the solid waste, but much more important is practicing your knowledge in your daily life. Good luck for processing your solid waste. See you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay. Thank you, Farid. For every one of you, just a reminder, we will have the next session on Thursday at 8 March. It's a session about the hydroponics from Miss Riana. So for all of you who have practiced hydroponics, please don't forget to send your presentation to Miss Riana's email. We have already received 2 emails on hydroponics, so please don't miss the next session. Okay. So thank you everyone for today and good afternoon.
Udah.
Okay.